all kids, number one thing, and most people don't know this, is face-to-face communication. And I was like, wait, this is America. There's no mirrors, I'll make a mirror. Because we want to see mirrors. This is the MVP.
That is cool.
We want to see mirrors that can universally fit on all of the strollers.
Yeah, what's your next step?
My next step right now is fundraising.
Have you started?
Right now with your podcast.
Yes. Puck Fernsten. He is the founder of Gooru Global, manufacturing mirrors for baby carriages. He's taken a company from just an idea to a product, which you're about to launch, correct?
Yes.
All right. And what do you actually see that happening? Huh?
So it's been many years of prototyping. So I wanted to get something that when I had little ones, it was like, how do you raise these little ones to be superstars? And number one thing for brain development for all kids, number one thing, and most people don't know this, is face-to-face communication.
Right.
And there are tactics within face-to-face communication, like serve and return, that we want everybody to understand and know. And so I was busy, just like everybody else, flying around, going to conferences, and then I got home, I took my son for a run in the stroller when he was 2 years old. There, I realized, wait, I'm still disconnected from him, because he's facing out and I couldn't see him. And I went home to buy a mirror to put on the strollers. And I was shocked. I was like, there are no mirrors. How is there no mirrors I can put on the stroller?
Right.
And then it took me about a day because I just couldn't even figure it out. And I was like, wait, this is America. There's no mirrors, I'll make a mirror. How hard could that be?
Right.
And that led me on this prototyping journey that took many years and many failures.
Right.
And finally, we're at the point now where we are here at Venture Cafe. We're raising our funds to manufacture this thing and get it out into the world.
Right.
Because we want to see mirrors. This is the MVP.
That is cool.
We want to see mirrors that can universally fit on all of the strollers that people are using.
Okay.
That are safe to use outside, that provide face-to-face connection with the child and the mother or father.
Okay.
We're kind of important sometimes.
Right. Sometimes.
Yes, we have our moments. But that's our first product. This one's an attachable unit, and so we want to see these mirrors attached to all the strollers and integrated into all the strollers.
Is this
Right.
flexible?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
look at that.
So many different puzzles to getting this right.
This
Right.
is really intense.
What's like
Nice.
what's like a minor detail at first glance about this product that you spent tons and tons of time on
Look at that.
that people might not be able to just appreciate before they look at it?
I'll say the universal clamping mechanism. So
this right here.
Right
yes,
here.
this is the one that came with the MVP. We've actually made it a little bit prettier, aesthetically pleasing for the actual go-to-market.
Okay.
But the universal clamping was a real puzzle. This gooseneck was a real puzzle.
Okay.
And then the mirror, which doesn't seem like it's a real puzzle, but here's the thing about a mirror being used outside. There's sunlight. And if that sunlight comes down and reflects into a baby's face and it's glaring,
Yeah.
then you burn or blind one baby, the game's over. So all the good of face-to-face connection doesn't matter. And so we had to have anti-glare technology on the mirror. And so it was all these multiple components that took a lot of engineers and a lot of smart people, a lot of time to figure out, and now we've got it, and now we're...
So explain that to me. How does that work? I'm an engineer, so this is one of those things that really gets into me. Are you using a polarized lens, or are you using multiple lenses within the design?
For the mirror?
For the anti-glare aspect.
So anti-glare, there's two aspects of anti-glare. So any convex mirror will dissipate light and heat.
Right.
And so that's a part of it. So we needed to have it convex, and we needed the convex mirror to have the right curvature so that when somebody's pushing the stroller, it was a clear look at the face.
Right, that's very interesting.
And so
Yeah,
that's
I realized.
one.
I noticed that it's a curved it's a curved mirror.
So that was a lot of testing. And then in addition to that, we have it patented, and it's a trade secret. So anyone out there who's trying to figure out their secret sauce, if you have a patent, that's great. But then if you also have a trade secret where you don't know, or not a lot of people know what it is, like the Colonel 17 spices if you're at KFC, that go on the chicken. So how we do the anti-glare technology is both patented and a trade secret.
Do you say that that's actually a selling point when you take it to investors? You are seeking investment, correct?
Right now, yes. No, it's a major differentiation point. So we've got it protected, but then we also aren't telling people how we're doing it.
Right.
And then so with a hardware product, and this could happen with any hardware product, you put it out into the world and somebody's going to say, oh, that is a good idea.
Yeah.
And they're going to try to mimic it or copy it. And so we can protect it in some ways. You can't protect copycats in all ways, but you can protect it with your branding, you can protect it with who your partners are, you can protect it with patents. And so we've tried to protect it in all the ways that you can protect it.
Right.
And then the things that we're not telling anyone is how we're doing the anti-glare technology.
Good.
So if those copycats come, good luck to them to figure it out.
Yeah, that's really cool. You mentioned branding there. So this is a big topic for us since we're trying to start this new channel. What outlets are you going through for your branding? Are you going through Facebook Marketplace or Facebook Media or Instagram, YouTube?
Our main market is going to be moms and dads. And so right now I've got retail partnership set up. So we're going where mom and dads go to buy their baby products. And then most of our sales are going to come through e-commerce. And so we're going to be looking at Instagram, we're going to be looking at TikTok, we're going to be looking at Facebook, and using influencers in those domains to get the message out. And so there's the making it cool aspect with the influencers. And then there's the academic side, because we have the academics that are going to be there for the publicity side to say this is good for every child, because that face-to-face communication should be done for everyone in the
So are you backing that with like published articles and stuff like that?
Right now it's all basically me and white papers, and so I've done all the white papers, and then I've consulted experts at our top universities across the country to say, well, am I crazy?
Right.
But everything looks like this is important for the development of children, and everybody has said, yes, that is going to be good for children. And so that's a piece of it. It's also good. There's research saying for children with autism that face-to-face communication in a non-therapeutic environment is good for their development.
Yeah.
And so that's a segment. All the people that use sign language, if you use sign language with your child, even if they're a hearing child, that has some benefits. But I did research into the deaf community, and it was the saddest research I've ever done, because oftentimes they don't feel like they're part of society. And so we want to make sure that they can communicate with their children, the parents and children using sign language. That was part of the development of the product. And so every child can benefit from face-to-face communication, and there are specialized groups that also will be able to benefit once we start getting these on the strollers all across the country.
That's really cool. That's really cool. So your goal is to get them on every single stroller.
Ubiquitous, yes.
Right. And you mentioned off camera that you had other products in mind that you were considering going for and creating a brand that's not just this. What are some of those ideas that you had?
Right, so this is the first one. So everybody's life starts in the crib and the stroller.
Right.
This is on a crib, it can go, and the kids have face-to-face communication, and then on a stroller, it works. After that, kids turn 2, 3, 4, 5, and the development of that child still is a crucial importance for people who care about the development of a child. So what we want to see is a home, and that's the Gooru Global growth place. It's a website where we're going to be coming out with products that are good for brain development, socio-emotional development, and it's a go-to place. For me personally as a dad, I cared about this, and so I would go searching all over the place, reading magazines and going to conferences and trying to figure out what's the right gift. We want to do that work for the parents so that when they're looking at products that are good for the development of my child in a holistic way, they know, go to Gooru. Gooru will have it, and it'll be a segment for
I like that.
for their children.
That's really cool. So that's your marketing play right
Yes.
there. Yeah. So to further that, we are actually looking into specifically how you got started and how did you go from just that concept to your natural idea, not just your backstory, but the actual process behind it. So where did you start?
Where did I start?
To make the product, to get it out there.
At the very beginning.
At the very beginning.
So at the very beginning, I had the idea, and I didn't know if it was a crazy idea. And so I didn't want to hire engineers that were in my neighborhood.
Right.
So I actually hired the person that was #1 on marketing, prototype making,
Mm-hmm.
and they were out in Colorado. And I was
Yeah.
like, all right, you go make this thing. Because I tried making one, and my first ones were in my garage, and they were really janky.
Mm-hmm.
Then when I hired the people from Colorado, that was a little bit better. Then we went to industry, and we were working with some really skilled industry engineers, and it got a little bit better.
Yeah.
And then through conversations and meeting and networking, I ended up finding an engineer from the Harvard iLab and a designer associated in
Right.
Somerville, and they're the ones that got the MVP done. And that was a multi-year, many failure process,
Right.
going through all those different
I have a
avenues.
question about that actually. So, how do you balance the line between contributing on your own on this idea that you've thought about for so long and outsourcing it to somebody who has, I guess, the design expertise that you don't, right? Like, what's the
Right.
fine line to tread in between? Because sometimes I feel like, personally, I like to be hands-on with everything that happens within the business, but it seems like you kind of took the approach of like, here, there's people that's better than me at this, let them go at it. So, what's that balance there?
For me, I studied political science and then got an MBA.
Right.
And so when I had an idea for a hardware product, I've never studied engineering anything. And the first ones that I did, they weren't very good. They just weren't very good. And it was me tinkering myself, and it was basically terrible. And so there it was like, let me see if somebody has studied design, engineering, mechanical engineering, what they would come up with.
Yeah.
And it's funny, working with so many different engineers, a lot of people had different ideas as to what the right design should be.
Right.
And so it was an iterative process to trial and error, not only with one engineer, but multiple engineers to see how they'd come up with a design that would ultimately be the one that would be good for going to the market for
Right.
everybody.
What would you say was the hardest thing, and something that you would, if you knew it now, you could do it differently?
Oh, the years of prototyping.
Right.
Like, I never would have thought it would take so long. It was like, I'm gonna make this thing. This is gonna be awesome, and then that it would have taken so many years and so much failure. The thing with innovators, and I've noticed this with talking with other innovators in the community. A lot of us have a lot of ideas.
Right.
And to follow through on an idea is the thing that's important. Can you take your idea and then make success of it? And then if you make success of it, then
Right.
you can follow through and do your other ideas.
Right.
And so for this one, after I was 3 years in and still didn't have the product,
Yeah.
I was like, man, did I go after the wrong idea? But sticking with it, and finally we got to this point where we have a product that's universally attachable. It works
Right.
with every stroller on every shape. It's going to be safe for the kids, and it's going to be on every stroller.
Mhm.
And that it was just, it was a. If I were to do it again, I would probably come into Boston at Venture Cafe,
Right.
and
Me
Quick
too.
plug.
Yeah.
Quick plug to the CIC.
be like, I got
CIC.
this idea.
Thank you, CIC. Yeah.
Question. So now you have the product. You're trying to take it to market now. Tell me the thought process behind finding the right price for a product like this, right? Because there's nothing else that you can reference for
Mhm.
something like this.
Right.
How did you go about that?
So the pricing of it right now is still a question,
Okay.
because we're launching it sort of at the high end of the market. It's
Right.
a very nice product,
Yeah.
purposely.
It has some heft to it.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah, this is really cool.
Right. And
Uh,
I'm sure that's by design too, right? Because
Yes.
you don't want to pay for a product that's on the luxury end and feel like it's finicky, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And at that level, every detail needed to be
Yeah.
perfect.
Right.
Or as close to perfect as we could get.
Yeah.
So we're launching at the high end, and the idea is we want this on every stroller. So
Right.
once we start the trend I have a retail partner with
Right.
people I really like. They're called Brixie, and they have a number of stores in places like the Back Bay of Boston and
Right.
Michigan Avenue and Beverly Hills. And so we're going to start with those communities,
Right. Yeah.
and then shortly after that, bring it down to the rest of the market, and that'll be through the influencers and through all of our e-commerce.
So almost a viral marketing scheme by getting it in the hands of the influencers.
That's the idea,
Right.
yes. And then have you guys looked at how products go viral?
No.
No,
Is
that's
that-
interesting. Yeah, let's go into that.
Well, there's virality is something that with a consumer product, it's interesting to study how does something go viral. So with this, which is really interesting, one of the ways things go viral, if it's publicly known. So
Right.
let's say there's something in your kitchen. Say you love your fridge,
Right.
And you could love your fridge.
Right.
It's like, I love my fridge, but
Best fridge ever.
I love
yes,
what's inside of it.
So it has features, a smart fridge, whatever it is.
Makes ice, you know?
Yes, and you love your fridge, but if you don't share that with the world,
Yeah.
then nobody's going to know you love your fridge, and so it's tough for your fridge to go viral.
Yeah.
With ours, it's very public. So when somebody puts the unit on their forward-facing stroller,
Right.
It's
other
something-
people are like, "What is that
is
thing
that?
that person has on their stroller?"
And then you have very clear branding on the back of the product too. So
I'm going to show that to the camera again.
Guru right there.
Yes, and so the clear branding, and then just with our MVP, we sold some of those units, and people were like, "Oh, moms just kept coming up to me to say,
Right.
what is that on your stroller?" And
Right.
so to go viral, when people can discover your product,
Right.
that helps with virality. There's other elements to it, but the one that's going to be big for ours is public usage,
Right.
because it's
Gotcha.
all very public.
I mean, just walking down the street, you're going to pass by at least 10 people if you're in a park or something like that.
Right.
Who knows, you know?
Right, and is there a mother on earth?
Huh.
Literally, is there a mother on earth that doesn't care about the development of their child? There are, but
Let's
it's not
hope-
many.
let's
Yeah,
hope
not. And so when people find out that this is good for their child,
Right.
and it's not an incremental effort.
Right.
There are lots of things that are incremental efforts that are good for us that we don't do because we're like, we don't have the time or the energy to do that thing.
Yeah.
Right.
This one is effortless development for the child. Once it's there, the kid is there looking at it, they're looking at their mom, and those neural connections are happening, and it's a effortless best practice for parenting. And so
Right.
that's
That is so
public and something that we want to see everyone engaging in.
Yeah.
Part of a potential marketing campaign. I don't know. This is just something that came to mind right now. You get people or babysitters, right? You pay a bunch of them, and they're going to playgrounds with other people around as well.
That's a good idea.
Right?
You could
And-
go to the caretaker app, right? And just give it out to the caretakers and make a marketing scheme that way.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much this is probably not something you want to disclose, but like, if it's not a hefty cost for producing this product, and it's something that you can afford, you can just give it away a few to people that are going to be at high concentrations where there's going to be a lot of baby showers, a lot of mothers around. That could be a
Multiple
good way.
mothers.
Yeah, multiple. Right.
Multiple mothers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
That's actually a good idea. I
Yeah.
like
It
where
is.
your head's at.
Now, my first, my original business plan concept, it was Mommy Takes a Walk. It was putting one of these on the stroller of a very famous photographed mother
Oh yeah.
in Central Park, having her walk through Central Park where somebody who's paparazzi worthy,
Right.
they take pictures and they say, what is that
that?
thing on their
Right.
stroller? Is it vanity? Why do they have a mirror? What
Right,
is
right,
this
right.
thing? And then
Yeah.
ultimately finding out it's more substantive than that. It's about the development of the child.
Right.
So before we go any further, actually, where can people go and actually look at this?
Right.
Your media. What is your social media? You
Our website is Gooru Global, GOORU global.com. We don't have units up for sale at the moment.
right.
Can people pre-order? Get on the wait list?
People can get on the wait list.
Okay.
And so hopefully we're going to have these ready sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
So that's
It looks like it's almost ready. I'd say, once you, what manufacturing outlets are you doing right now?
So manufacturing right now, most of the baby products in the country are coming from China, and so we have Chinese manufacturing discussions going on. With Greentown Labs here in Boston, I've started a conversation to see, for reasons of the environment, can we make something locally that's distributed locally?
Yeah.
And then when we're launching in China, we make it in China and distribute it in China. So we're trying to figure out, is it possible to make this in North America at the very least,
Right.
just to, with our packaging, with all the elements that are going to be around the product, to try to not just do good for the kids, but do good for the world. And
Right.
so
Right.
that conversation is ongoing.
Okay, fantastic. And in the short term, what are you hoping to accomplish?
What's your next step?
Yeah, what's your next step?
My next step right now is fundraising. So
Okay.
Right.
I'm here at Venture Cafe, and
Right.
We are in the midst of it
And
Have you started?
right now with your podcast.
Yes. All right. It's a first.
You heard it first here. And what are you looking to raise at the moment?
We're doing a traditional seed raise, so
Okay.
$1 million gets us running, gets us in the stores, gets us the trend going.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that's
I'd
fantastic.
say that's a good little wrap there.
Yeah, that's a good little wrap.
Let's cut it back real quick.
Yeah.
So we want to thank Puck for coming on the show. Again, you can get him at, what is it?
GooruGlobal.com. GOORUGLOBAL.
And the link will be in our description. You can also follow us. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yeah.